Scott the Woz time. Me when Scott the Woz. That's me. That's my live reaction to Scott the Woz. We've detected copyrighted video in your stream. It better not be Scott the Woz. If Scott the Woz is if copyrighted, what will we do? We will cry.
Hey y'all, Scott here. In my spare time, I like to pit two entities picked at random.
If the stream comes down for Scott the Woz, then we die for Scott the Woz. In my spare time, I like to spin. Okay. Alright, we're good. We didn't get it clear.
Let's
We're
see
good.
what the first fighter is. Okay, it's gonna be myself, guilty as charged. Let's see who's next. Okay, Gizmondo widescreen. I already compare myself enough to that every day.
These are canceled game consoles, supposedly.
This isn't even Gizmondo widescreen's first win. The Wii U actually released. What did you do today?
What was that? Was that a...
250 games/babies are born every minute. They're both bustling industries. But because of how many games start development, it's fair to expect a good chunk of them to never reach completion.
For sure.
Game projects get canceled. It happens. They're such complicated pieces of media that sometimes things just end up failing to come together. But if games are so complicated, how complicated are the cartons you play them on? Because I'm not trying to downplay how difficult video games are to work on, but the video game consoles themselves, that's a whole different story. To successfully create a video game platform, a company has to talk to hundreds.
I have two Xbox 360s. I have two of them. And both of them are broken. Two Xbox 360s. Neither of them work. Both of them, when I bought them, worked. You say I'm breaking them. I don't think I'm breaking them. I think they are bad consoles. That's what I think. I like the Xbox 360, and you know what? When my Xbox 360 broke, do you want to know what I did? I bought another one. That's right, folks. That's right. We got another one. So, you know, it'd be that way.
Hundreds of other companies to see what they want out of gaming hardware, make deals, get games to come to the platform, get exclusive games in development, advertise the system itself alongside the games for it, create unique features, menu systems, all for a reasonable price. Developing a game system not only requires the creation of hardware, but fundamentally requires getting multiple other games in development, and because of that, not a lot of people make game systems as a hobby.
I don't know, I don't know where I would even start. Like, something like a video game or, like, music or an album, you could create, you could make yourself, like, if you're just dedicated enough to learn the programs. But I have no idea how I would go about making a video game console in its entirety. Like, there's so many aspects and parts of it, it feels like an industry that there's no real competition in because you can't compete in it unless you have so much money to pump into it, like Microsoft did or whatever.
I mean, EA could probably put out their own platform if they wanted to, but I have multiple questions, and they're all, why would they do that? There's a reason only 3 big console manufacturers exist now, and whenever somebody else tries to enter the ring, everybody can't stop laughing. It is incredibly risky to create a video game platform. With how much money has to get poured into not only creating the hardware, but funding exclusive game development, it's obvious why it's a 3-man game.
Right.
That's not to say others haven't tried or the big guys haven't attempted to launch other consoles with plans falling through. Canceled game consoles are some of the most elusive...
I want a Virtual Boy. I want a Virtual Boy because I think I would genuinely enjoy playing a Virtual Boy. The Virtual Boy is like the old Game Boy. It's a handheld that you can put over your eyes. It'd probably be convenient to have. Alright, listen. I'm taking these off. Kiro, if you're still in the chat and you want me to put them back on, I will. Okay? But they're coming off for now. I want a Virtual Boy pretty badly, but they're like so much money. They're so much money. And I don't know. I feel like I would genuinely enjoy it as a system, though.
Portions of video game history. I mean, even if a company is developing a console and things aren't going too hot, I mean, Jesus, man, you've already spent this much money. Just release it for kicks at that point. A game that's never seen the light of day. We're all pretty used to that. A game console itself, though, that's a bit more rare. Full
too much money put into it.
Planned, yet never
Way
saw
too much.
The light of day. And what do you know? One of them happened to be Atari Game Brain. Oh yeah, of course, the Atari Game.
Dude, what is that thing? Okay, someone talk to me about how you would control this. So there's 4 buttons on either side. Put them back on. Those are your Virtual Boy. Kiro, listen. I'm gonna clean them, because they're so dirty, too. They're so dirty that I have to keep cleaning them. Okay, they're good and clean. Virtual Boy installed. Let's go. So, it appears to be... there's like... this
Game
is...
Brain. You can't have video games without the Atari Game Brain. The Game Brain was designed to play 10 of
I like the
Atari's
name.
games at home. Pong, Super Pong, Ultra Pong, Video Pinball, the classics. This was in the era of the Pong console. Cheap little consoles you could buy that do one thing and one thing well. Play Pong. The Game Brain was a bit different, though.
Okay.
It was sort of a Pong console.
I don't remember
sort
the
of a
Pong
regular
consoles.
video game platform. See, it would have had cartridges, and you could play different games.
Things
by
look like
swapping
cassette
out
tapes.
cartridges. But it would only be able to play those 10 games. It wasn't designed to have a limitless library of titles. It was fundamentally a Pong console with a few variations of Pong you could select, but those variations would have been sold as separate cartridges to be... They decided against releasing the system because, I mean, the Atari 2600 was already out at that point. Who wanted this? Well, Atari was not one to shy away from releasing games.
Atari released so much bullcrap, though. Like, they released so much bullcrap.
Because around this time...
All of a sudden, they've...
developing a handheld system.
Dude, can you imagine an Atari handheld system?
Atari Cosmos. The big selling point of this thing was going to be its holographic display. It was 1981.
What?
The Cosmos had only 9 games planned for it, and all of them were pretty much programmed into the system itself.
What?
The cartridges you would use to activate the games contained holograms, which I believe are pretty much those 3D-looking pictures that move when you do.
That's wacky. I would like to see how that would actually work, though, because that technology I haven't really seen used in gaming all that much. I feel like it could be good for, like, depth perspective. Maybe. I don't know. Maybe I don't know what I'm talking about.
Playing asteroids with a 3D-looking picture in the background. Well, at least it wasn't the Intellivision 3. There's a reason these two things never came together.
Amen.
The Intellivision, Mattel's competitor to the Atari 2600, had a phone controller. It'll always have that against me.
Dude, why? How do you play this? So I've seen an Intellivision like once in life. I saw one at a game store in town, but I cannot imagine playing on this thing. I cannot imagine playing on this thing.
Mattel's answer to fan demands for another Intellivision. It was a cheap
That's cool, though.
version of the Intellivision. I love their use of 2. But the Intellivision 3 was supposed to be a true successor, like a next-gen system. What the hell was the point of calling this one 2? No, the Intellivision 3 wasn't the real next-gen system. That was going to be the Intellivision 4. Intellivision 3 was just to hold consumer...
Just release... No.
Over until that fateful day.
Just release the Intellivision 4.
I specifically thought to myself, I will never legitimately say this, but Mattel lost their minds. Let's go back to Atari. You ever use the Atari 2600 and say, I wish it would sit on my lap? Well, they almost had you covered. The CX2500...
Dude, the Atari, it feels like it should sit on your lap, though. They feel like laptops. Like, look at you see that thing right there? Okay, maybe, no, wait, those might actually...
CX2000, these were to be budget versions of the 2600, but this time with the controllers on the console itself. Sure, I mean, I'm open.
See, no, I like that. I like that. I do think that would probably... You need that to be a pretty sturdy console, though. That needs to be pretty heavy, because you can really... You can really mess up your console if you're just kind of on top of it all the time.
There was going to be the Atari 2700, which was basically
maybe not these older systems.
A version of the 2600 with built-in wireless controllers. You could buy a wireless adapter for the original system.
I have actually seen these I saw these in a thrift store once. I saw the wireless adapter.
Sadly, this variant never saw the light of day.
I don't think it was for this system, though, because
Atari
I guess this system didn't get released.
Mirai, which is famous for nothing. The system's purpose was never known. All we know is that somebody
love that
found
color
a casing
scheme.
and it never released. That's it. This would be truly different if the Atari Mirai actually released. For starters, I wouldn't be talking about it right now. But the Conix multi-system has one leg up on the Mirai. It has like this much more information out there. You could have gotten a chair with it. The system was supposed to be the most immersive thing on the planet.
Oh my gosh, y'all, I want one of those driving, like... Do you guys know those driving things? They got like 3 screens. I have 3 screens right here. I know you can't see it. That's fine. I have 3 screens right here. They're not the same size, though, so I don't know if I could do it. I would love to. I might be able to set it up on my PlayStation 2, maybe my Xbox, and get a race, like one of those race things. I would love that. I don't know how much the steering wheels cost, but they're probably not terribly expensive because, like, everyone has made
So many
one.
different controller configurations, force feedback, a chair you could have gotten with it.
Dude,
This was supposed to be the
that.
ultimate video game system. Half of this stuff seems like the
Yes.
fake kind of video game accessories you'd see people playing with in movies, but this was real life. Counting's pretty much bit off more than they could chew with this thing. They crammed so much in here that it just wasn't feasible to release. The multi-system faded away, and the remnants of the project were purchased by Atari and eventually became the Atari Jaguar. Good. Speaking of the Jaguar,
I think the Atari Jaguar is one of the coolest systems because of, like, it's just so of its time.
Atari was creating a system alongside it called the Panther. But this was scrapped to put more resources into the more powerful system. Listen, I love hotel rooms. You get free water bottles.
No, the
and
Jaguar's
bugs,
cool.
But what I love most is when you have those hardwired video game controllers connected to the TV where you could play games for a small giant fee on your hotel bill. Well, what if there was a console that was like playing hotel games at home?
Is that a thing? Hotel?
The Taito Wow Wow Woo Woo was already copyrighted. It was going to play games off of CD, or for a small fee, you could download games via satellite. It's a hotel in the home. This was canceled probably due to budgetary reasons.
I've never been to a hotel that has, like, pay for game. That's cool as heck, and I would definitely pay for game. Me when pay for game. Yes. Good. That's my official take on the situation.
At the time, it was a bit expensive cramming a CD-ROM drive and a satellite receiver into one console. Around the same time, Bandai was trying out their own CD-based game console, the Bandai HET, or HAT, or Home Entertainment Terminal. You guys know me, I love video game console names that sound like airports. So this was pretty much a Super Famicom with a CD drive and in the form of a laptop with various other features that I have no idea how they'd be used. It was portable and had a stylus.
A stylus? Can you imagine a Famicom with a stylus? That's so unnecessary. Cause like it's not pay for game. You have like you have like 400 pixels to work with. Why do you need a stylus?
Famicom games. So why was Bandai making their own Super Famicom? Well, this isn't the most obscure thing out there. Various third-party companies have produced their own version of video game hardware with the permission of the original companies. But that's the thing, I don't think Nintendo wanted this. A Super
No, I don't
Famicom
either.
you could use a stylus on. Yeah, you can also play it on the bus, I guess. And that brings us to one of the most
One of those old SpongeBob games.
of all time.
I have, or I did have a Pac-Man one. We might still have it lying around, but yeah, it's a plug and play.
Or in this case,
and the console is like inside of the actual game, like it's inside of the actual console and controller.
Sega released the Sega CD add-on for the Sega Genesis. CDs were the future, after all. Nintendo looked at that and said, oh man, we need to f*** up too. They partnered with Sony to make the SNES CD, an add-on for the Super Nintendo that would be able to play games off of the CD. After Nintendo reread their contract with Sony, it was lame, so they
probably
partnered with
had
Philips instead for this imaginary CD add-on.
One of the games, one of the plug and plays was the SpongeBob Revenge of the Flying Dutchman.
Never came out. That's the excuse everybody gives when they're hiding something.
Game Boy
the
version,
SNES
though?
CD
Probably.
add-on never came out, regardless of it being manufactured by Sony or Philips. But through the initial first partnership, Sony created their own version of the SNES with the CD add-on built in. The Nintendo...
Was it like a 2D platformer?
PlayStation. Thank
Yeah.
God Nintendo killed the deal with Sony. They definitely saved some money by not releasing a CD add-on and instead created their biggest competitor ever, who they've consistently lost to time and time again. At least it didn't make the Atari Jaguar Duo. Oh my god, Atari, piss out. Atari ran supreme in terms of most unreleased The Jaguar Duo was simply combining the Jaguar and Jaguar CD add-on to create something you didn't want to play. Now, Sega originally
Dude,
had
I wanted an
plans to create
Atari
a console
Jaguar.
in between the
What's
release
the
of
price point on
Genesis,
that?
Sega CD 32X, and the Sega Saturn. That would be called the Sega Neptune. This was to be a Sega Genesis with a 32X built-in, a 32-bit cartridge-based console, not to be confused with the Sega Saturn, a 32-bit CD-based console, or the Sega Jupiter, another canceled 32-bit cartridge-based console, or the Sega Pluto, a canceled Sega Saturn with the Netlink adapter built in. I took an astronomy class once.
Y'all.
This was all...
Atari Jaguar, $1 billion. Look at this. Can you guys see this? It's $500. For an Atari Jaguar, it's $500. I mean, I guess. Yeah, I mean, hey. If you only sold 150,000 of them, I guess you have to. But, you know, what are we gonna do?
Probably took away from it. Around this general time was when Nintendo was working on a new handheld entitled Project Atlantis. It had a whole bunch of this in 1995. That wasn't going to work, so they held off on the core concept until the Game Boy Advance in 2001. That's
Cheaper than a
Nintendo.
PS5? Yes, sir!
Too ahead of their time.
Let's go!
That's comparable to the Panasonic M2 back in '96. It may have included DVD playback and this Hasbro thing. It was canceled around the same time.
What is that? That does not look
Come
real.
on, DVDs and VR in '96. Half of these systems were being made by companies who just couldn't do stuff like that. Cutting edge graphics. Hasbro.
No.
Well, these handhelds never came out because, yeah, I mean, handhelds may have been an easier investment than big boy home consoles, but Nintendo cornered the handheld market. Get out of here, Nano Gear. The Infinium Phantom, a console for playing PC titles. What? It was supposed to be released back in 2004. And
that's what my computer setup looks like.
Console. You just downloaded the game.
That is my computer setup, actually. I don't know how we got. I don't know.
They kept delaying it until they lost all their money.
Just kind of send him that message.
Can you believe a company called Infinium wasn't trustworthy? But then we have the Panasonic Jungle. Yes, Panasonic has had quite the history of consoles, going from eek to yikes to what? The Jungle was going to be a handheld for playing MMOs. Good for them. They don't want to make fun of these consoles too much. They never came out.
Why would you need that? I guess just large disk storage, because MMOs are long games.
Kind of a fetus.
Right? Does that make sense? Hopefully. Alright, good video. Awesome.